Over the past couple years, I've picked up a variety of odd little cars, this being one of them. This is a Hot Wheels McDonald's Happy Meal promotional car, and it's called the Innovator. It was one of their giveaways in 1999. When I look at it, it just kind of looks spacey to me, kind of spacecraft look. So I thought I'd take that idea and run with it. Interestingly enough, this was a 1999 car, and it reminded me of some model I built quite a while ago from the TV show Space 1999. When it came to painting it, I kind of used the same approach I used on that model many, many years ago. So interestingly, this thing has a metal body, metal base, separate little metal engine part. This thing was really well made. I tend to think of the McDonald's Happy Meal cars as, well, less than well made. So as you can see there, the wheels fall right out. It has that odd little dome canopy over the driver's section. And again, the wheels truly just drop out. So the front post, it has two posts. Front post was insanely small, short. And then the back post was pretty well, a normal post. There you see me tapping out the back post. I did try and tap out the front one as well. And I was able to get very little bite on it, and I ended up stripping it out. There was really nothing to cling on to. So the fact that this had a metal base in that one post is a really good anchor for it, really holds it together well. So it's not too much of a concern that front little stubby area stripped out. So I just end up gluing a screw cap on there. The body did need some cleaning there. As you could tell from the original turntable shot, this thing was really well played with. It had a metal flake paint job on it originally in orange. No tampos or anything like that. So I just cleaned it up, got rid of some of the casting marks, hit it with a Scotch-Brite pad, cleaned that stuff up. Just got the casting looking good. And then the coloring I end up going with on this, it's going to seem a little odd to you probably, but like I said, I thought back to that Space 1999 Eagle model that I built all those years ago. And for some reason, when I painted that, I painted it with a flat tan color. So as you can see on this, I used a camo sand and camo dark tan. Then went over it with the Minwax poly clear satin. So here you see the process. I hit it with the light sand tan color first. And then I wanted to mask it off. I wanted to use dark for that front bumper, I guess we'll call it, and for another area of the body. So I just needed to mask it off. I used a variety of Tamiya tapes for this. This is one of their standard tapes. And then I also used, they have this white tape that's for curves. You can see at the lower left of that picture there. Because there's a couple body lines I follow on the sides that have a slight curve to them. The Tamiya tapes, they're not cheap. They're not ridiculously expensive, but they're not cheap, but they're definitely well worth it. I've always had really good luck with the Tamiya tape. There's that stretch white tape. And there wasn't much of a bend to those side panels where I was trying to follow what appears to be a door line. And that tape works really well, and then I just end up masking off the rest of it. And go through the usual processes here. A variety of tapes, and then even when I get to the very end, I don't even know if it makes it in the picture, but then I end up using blue painter's tape under everything as well to make sure that nothing else, no paint trickles through. Once that's all done, I go over it with the Gundam markers to bring out some of the detail. There's some body lines on there, some grill marks, that kind of thing, that I like to pick out with the Gundam. And this is the Gundam fine tip marker. There are some other markers you can get in sets that are Gundam markers that are a broad tip. But for this, picking out that little tiny detail, and for panel lines that you'll see here in a second that I do on the sides, those Gundam markers, the fine tips, can't be beat. Here you see. I apologize for my dome making it in the shot. Again, some of you may think that's my stomach. It is not. It's my head. So once that's done, I got it on the helping hands, and then I went and hit it with that poly clear satin that I mentioned earlier. I know some of you are probably wondering about the coloring. Actually, I thought it was pretty nice myself. I polished that top with flits. There were a little bit of rough spots on it, so I wanted to clean those up. I polish it up, wipe that off, and then I headed down another path with bare metal foil. Because again, I was thinking kind of spacecraft-like for this thing. And you know how on like the old NASA missions, you'd see that foil on the engines that was, it looked super thin, and yet it couldn't have been. And it was kind of, you could tell it was metal foil, and at the same time it was kind of wrinkly, and it was interesting. And so I thought, well, let me use the bare metal foil for this little section of the canopy. It seemed like it was intended to be a metal portion of the canopy in the design of it. When you use bare metal foil, you want to use an exceptionally sharp knife tip when you're cutting it, because you don't want it to drag and tear the bare metal foil, which it can really easily do. For this kind of thing, bare metal foil can't be beat. The stuff is great. I've heard before that you shouldn't paint, like put a clear coat over it, that the metal loses some of the effect when you do that. But I end up trying something on this, and to be honest, it retained the metal look, which really has me optimistic for future uses for bare metal foil, where I might not have thought of using it before because I'd want to put a clear coat over it. And I'll be showing you here in a second, but I just needed to clean this up a little bit. And once I did that, I burnished it again. I wanted to see what it looked like, and it has an odd helmet look to me, that canopy, which is what I was after. And then I ended up dipping it in gauzy, and unfortunately I'd already dipped it at this point and wicked off some of the excess. I missed the dunking in the gauzy portion of it. But I did squeeze a little bit of gauzy in here for those of you who are looking forward to it. And then I got out, Citadel lead belcher, because this casting has a rather odd stance to it. The rear axle sits back a ways by design. It wasn't anything I altered, but a portion of the body shows. And so, because you do see the metal base, and I did polish the metal base as well on this, but I wanted that area of the body to match, not directly the base, but to fit in with it. So I painted that with lead belcher. I used Samed wheels on this build. The front axle fit perfectly without any adjustment. And I did have to make an axle for the rear tires. And got that all worked out. Interestingly, that engine portion goes in before the canopy portion, which I'm glad I paid attention when I was taking it apart, because I probably wouldn't have done it that way. I wouldn't have remembered to do it that way, and then I would have been wondering why it's not fitting together. But it seems like the order was odd, but it works great. And so I throw the one screw I have holding it all together. This is a really well-made little car. And I know some of these builds that I do, I build a wide variety of crap. I know. And I know this is absolutely something some of you will hate, and some of you will be thrilled with it. And I unapologetically build a wide variety of stuff because it's fun to me. That's what keeps it all interesting, too, seeing what you can do with them, seeing what kind of ideas you can come up with. There you see that well-play-worn starting point. And here's where we ended up. I hope you like this build. I had a kick in the pants doing this thing. That engine polished up really well, you can see. Turned out nice. I do like the foil effect on the canopy. And it may not appear so in these shots, but looking at the car, it's sitting on my desk right now as I'm recording this. And that foil retained the metal look. So I know that I can coat it with gauzy in the future, well, in future applications, and it'll work. So here's some glamour shots. I hope you all enjoy this video. I'll be doing some strange stuff in the future, and I'll be doing some really normal stuff in the future too. Thanks to my Patreon members, and thanks to all of you for watching this video. Everybody stay safe and healthy out there, and I'll catch you in the next one.